Before I get going, just here's the t-shirt I'm wearing. I'll talk about this in another video, one of my mix videos about women in music, women in vinyl, excuse me. This is the 2021 blues album tag. Blues tag album, tag blues album, tag team album. It's a million friggin' tags right now. I have one record here I'm substituting because I've answered all the questions, actually, except for one. And I substituted because I know pretty much in the tag, all these tag things, you're allowed to substitute a question if you don't have something related. So I think I substituted something that could start a whole new fad in the vinyl community and on YouTube here and possibly a future tag. Let's get on it. Now, this blues tag was created by Chris in Canada, Blues Guy Vinyl. I've had the pleasure of collaborating on a video with Chris. There is a link below to his channel. If you're into the blues, jazzy blues, soulful blues, country blues, folk blues, any blues, he's your guy, he's your man. And I don't know why, but he's one of those guys that wears hats indoors. So you better watch out. So get those comments ready for him too. All right, here we go. Number one. And I'm just reading exactly the way he wrote these, so I'm not editorializing these at all. Zap, an electric blues album. Of course, the obvious from 1968, because it says electric, and it's Muddy Waters' Electric Mud. 1968. Look at this. I mean, come on. How cool is that, right? Just preaching the blues. Preaching the blues, baby. Electric Mud, Muddy Waters. An acoustic blues album. I'm going with folk country blues, and amongst my favorite folk blues country artist, Josh White. I will pick up any album by Josh White. If you're not really into the blues, well, first of all, you should be. If you're not, you're crazy. But Josh White is a nice, easy entry into it. And I don't mean that to take away from the quality of his work, but he's like a folk artist. If you like folk music and acoustic music, Josh White, anything he does is great. Now look at this beautiful cover, Empty Bed Blues. What a beautiful, beautiful album. There's Josh White. He was an activist, political activist, great blues player, actor. Anything he does, Electra Records, several labels he was on, but these are, they're not really difficult records to find, but highly recommended. Mazzy says you need to buy a Josh White record. Okay, Whoopee, a live blues record. And this one has been shown a lot on the vinyl community. This is one of the very first, not the first, I don't think, but amongst the first blues records I got, because this is from 1968, I believe, and this is Live Wire Blues Power, recorded at the Fillmore. I remember hearing that song, Blues Power. This is the blues, his intro, Albert King's narration. He's my favorite of the Kings. And I just love this record because every Friday, our teacher in San Francisco would play a record, and one of the records he played was this record. And I'd never heard it before. I got it soon after. I'm not quite sure it's the first blues record, and that's a question, the last question. So I'm substituting that because I think I got the other one before I got this. But this is such a fantastic record. It's soulful. It's a great live record. Everyone should get this record. Mazzy says so, and I bet you Chris will say so as well. On Stax Records. Show a Gatefold or double album. Well, I'm going with two Jewish white guys playing the blues. Not all blues, rock and roll blues, blues rock. But one of the great blues rock guitar players was Michael Bloomfield. Of course, Al Cooper, a keyboard organist player, both of which played on Highway 61 with Bob Dylan and at Newport with Bob Dylan Folk Festival. Really, really great. This is a great live album, kind of a follow-up to Super Session that they played on with the problematic showing up of Michael Bloomfield. I think it was a 2 or 3 night show, and one night I think he slept through it, didn't show up. He had some personal issues, which I don't want to get into right now. Love this cover. This is the Gatefold, again, a live record recorded at the Film Auditorium in 1968 also. Cover by the great painter Norman Rockwell. What a great painting that is. And here's the Gatefold, so you can see lighter liner notes, but it's hysterical just to listen to the introduction on this record. But it's great records. I mean, they do covers like of The Weight. Her Holy Modal Highness is a cool song. 59th Street Bridge song, obviously feeling groovy, but a whole different bluesy version of that. Green Onions, Sonny Boy Williamson, a cover of Traffic's Dear Mr. Fantasy. So it's rock blues, but it's a Gatefold, so there we go. The next question, your oldest album by year or how long you've had it? I'm going by year, and this is a Monk's, Robert Johnson's probably really one of the oldest, but what year was that? In the 20s, I believe. But I think this is a good example, and plus I need to show some women in blues since I'm wearing the Women in Vinyl t-shirt, and of course, Bessie Smith. Nothing like Bessie Smith. These are Columbia 6-Eye records. These are pressings from the 50s, because I believe these probably came out 78s originally. I need to get volume 4 of this. I don't have volume 4, but there's a label, a 6-Eye label. Incredible music, incredible artist. Bessie Smith, the queen of the blues by, I think, anyone's definition of that. And there were some 70s double albums, a series of double albums that included these different covers that I think illustrations, paintings on the cover. I think I have one of those. So this is the oldest, amongst the oldest blues music in my collection. Your newest album or most recent find. This is my recent pickup. This is a reissue. Slim Harpo, Baby Scratch My Back, was actually a top 40, top 30 hit, at least in the Bay Area when I was growing up. Scratch My Back's a great song, a great Slim Harpo. He had sort of a, really kind of a cool style. This is a reissue. Shake Your Hips. Obviously, Shake Your Hips is a song the Stones covered on XL on Main Street. Harpo's Blues, Baby Scratch My Back is the one that I bought this for, but of course I love this music, and this was a cool original XLO. I can't even pronounce any independent title. Universal Music special product, but it's a great sounding record, and yeah, Slim Harpo. Okay. Show Blues 45. Well, I don't have any Blues 45 specifically. This is the closest I found in my, as little as I jumped in looking. And this is a promo copy. And what this is from 1973, Alvin Lee and Mylon LaFerve. This is an album they did on Columbia Records. But Albert Lee was the lead guitarist and member of 10 Years After, great British blues band. Ironically, this isn't really even a blues song. This is double A-side, mono stereo, white label promo single I got of this cover of the song So Sad, the George Harrison song. So here's the Beatle collection to the blues. Of course, I could have shown Your Blues from the White Album. But that's not on a 7-inch. So there you go there. Show a Blues 10-inch. Well, this is, again, the closest I came to having. Janis Joplin, this is outtakes, Pearl Sessions, working on the Pearl Sessions, double Gatefold 10-inch. Really cool stuff. I mean, I'm obviously a big fan of Janis Joplin. I got to see her just once in Golden Gate Park with Big Brother and the Holding Company. 1968 or 69. I think it was 68, obviously. Yeah, right as Cheap Thrills, or before Cheap Thrills came out. But this is a cool cool comp. So Blues 10-inch record, a Chess record label. This is an import, and this is a French import on Chess, a double album that has sort of this Chicago Golden Years packaging. Etta James Peaches. Soul blues, soul jazz, funky soul. The great Etta James, of course. Stop the Wedding, At Last, Security, Tell Mama. I mean, what a great artist. Obviously on the soul side of blues, R&B music, but on Chess Records. And of course Chess Records is pretty easy label to get. I could have done like even Chuck Berry. I think I have more rock and roll on Chuck Berry, Muddy Waters, things like that on chest, but I wanted to also show some Etta James. So there you go. A Delmark label. I don't have any vinyl on Delmark label, but I do have at least one CD. This is Hoodoo Man Blues, Junior Wells. This is on Delmark. You say Delmark. It is Delmark, D-E-L. You have to L out, I think, Chris, unless I'm have the wrong label. But I think this is what you're alluding to because it's the blues label. Hoodoo Man, Junior Wells is a great, important jazz artist. So if you want to get some more blues, this is goes deep into the Chicago blues. So this is a great collection on compact disc I have. Okay. Next, show an Alligator record. So this is the one I do not have. I think I used to have Luther, which his name is on Alligator. I have a CD, but I don't have one on Alligator. So I'm going to change the question here. And this is the one maybe we can start a whole new thread. I'm going to say show a punk polka record. I think that is something that we can all get behind. So this is Polka Side. They were a Bay Area band. In the 80s, I think. Let's see, this is recorded in San Francisco in 1986. Polka Side play around the Bay Area quite a bit. They were punk accordion infused band that played around the scene, clubs, events, baseball games throughout San Francisco. So Polka Side, punk polka has nothing to do with the blues, except the blues can mean anything. If you have to express yourself, if you got the blues, if you really are down and just have this, you lost your woman, you lost your job, you lost your money, you're sick and dying, and you just, you got the blues, you feel the blues. So there's Polka Side, feeling the blues. Show a small indie blues label. I'm going with, this is not exactly blues, although it's blues-ish. It's Zydeco. Zydeco music with the great accordion player Clifton Chenier. Clifton Chenier. Queen Ida would have been another one. Now this is Arhoolie Records. Arhoolie Records was created by Chris Strockwitz, who I had the pleasure of knowing for a bit. He produced these records. He really found a lot of these artists and brought people like Flaco Jimenez, brought roots music, rock, ethnic music to the foreground in a scene. And Arhoolie is a great small label, was eventually sold to Smithsonian. But Chris Strockwitz is a great musicologist and a great gentleman, and produced this record by, and there we go. There's Michael Bloomfield. Mike Bloomfield in the Bay Area. God, I forgot he was on this record. This is recorded at Wally Heider's in San Francisco. So, cool stuff. Who else is on here? Anyway, bluesy Zydeco music. Clifton Chenier out west with Elvin Bishop and Steve Miller. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not Mike Bloomfield. And I knew that when I saw it, but they all played together, because of East West and because of the Paul Butterfield Blues Band. That's Elvin Bishop. All those curly-haired guys, in the 70s look alike. Sorry about that. But I'm glad I corrected it because I usually screw these up and then there's a million comments about that. So I caught it before I fucked it up. A blues album in a regional style. Not really sure regional style, but a regional record because he came to San Francisco, and the great Jesse Fuller. I really recently found this record. Of course, my hometown, looking there, looking over at the San Francisco Bridge. Looks like this was taken from either the Marina Green or near Fort Mason there. Chrissy Field, great artist, where he played all these great instruments, the amazing one-man band, kazoo, guitar, percussive, great Jesse Fuller. Of course, he wrote San Francisco Bay Blues, which has been covered by so many artists, including Eric Clapton and Paul McCartney and Peter, Paul and Mary, and there's so many, Tom Rush, and so many blues folk artists in the early 60s covered San Francisco Bay Blues. Great, great, great song by Jesse Fuller. I love this. He would play around the Bay Area, sitting on this bench. He's got his hi-hat. Incredible, incredible player. This is a fantastic record, and this has been on my radar for years, and I've never had a copy of it. And actually, I found it in San Francisco during my recent trip down there, back home. So that was that's also a great find for me, amongst being somewhat regional in a way. Okay, show a psych blues album, man. Like, hey man. You know, in this, around 1967, 68, with the ballroom scene in San Francisco, the Avalon, the Fillmore, Bill Graham, who produced these shows, or some of the shows, and Chet Helms, but actually Bill Graham, I think a little more so, really mixed up these bills, brought blues artists in, Ravi Shankar in, jazz artists like Miles Davis and others, and some big bands, and mixed them with the rock artists. And of course, these rock bands from San Francisco were influenced by folk music and blues music, obviously, as were the East Coast bands, the rock bands from Chicago, and definitely, we all know the British bands, Yardbirds and Fleetwood Mac, and so on and on and on, Stones. But these two bands were recorded right in the midst of this, and they're both Chicago blues related, and both produced by Samuel Charters. And look at these I mean, the covers alone are psychedelic. They're capturing the moment of psychedelia. Junior Wells, Coming at You. And this is Junior Wells and a Chicago blues band with Buddy Guy. And this is Buddy Guy. These are craft reissues. These are fantastic records. I don't know if you can still get them. A Man in the Blues, both produced by Sam Charters, who was a musicologist, archivist, who would go on to produce all the Country Joe and the Fish records in the Bay Area for Fantasy Records. But look at these records. Fantastic psychedelic covers. You know, obviously, they're trying to capture the moment. They're trying to capture the younger, wider audience that are eating up all this British blues rock and everything. And, you know, going to the real deal was important. And I think these highly succeed. Not only the covers, but the music is incredible on these records. So highly recommended. And they were originally on Vanguard Records, I think. Both records? Yeah, Vanguard. And Vanguard obviously was where Country Joe and the Fish. So I guess he was I don't know if he's staff producer or did a lot of, Sam Charters did a lot of production for Vanguard Records. Okay, show a British blues album, mate. You know, I've seen some of these videos, and I love that people are showing Fleetwood Mac and the Yardbirds and that whole British blues scene, but I'm gonna go a little earlier and go with the Animals. And I think of all the British white dudes, aside from Van Morrison, okay, we all like Van Morrison's soulful blues scene, Eric Burton was the real deal. He had the great soulful voice, and obviously it's not a pure blues record, but there's all kinds of blues. There's Gin House Blues, C.C. Ryder, I Put a Spell on You, Sweet Little 16. So it's blues, rock, R&B, soul. Incredible record, Animalization on MGM Records. This is my original copy that I got. Actually, I got this like around 1969 or 70. Ooh, how did I get this? This is a Canadian pressing. And it's interesting. I don't remember now. But anyway, British blues, Animalization. They weren't really, they became pop, but they had great singles. But the earlier stuff is very, very bluesy, obviously. So, okay. An album by a king of the blues. King as in their name. Of course. You want blue, you want king, sorry, King Crimson. Bill Bruford, is he on that? Yeah, Bill Bruford's on that. I don't think that's what Chris had in mind, but I'm going to show this record. I think if you had to pick one record, this would be it. Obviously, this is another craft reissue. I do have an original stereo, but this is an original. Actually, my stereo is early 70s, not original. This album came out in 1967. One of the best electric blues records ever made, Born Under a Bad Sign. This is a record that you all should get. Chris would support me on that. I think everyone who knows the blues, knows like the electric blues, will support us. This is a mono reissue craft record, so I have a 70s stereo and this mono. Wonderful record. the King, Albert King. Okay, the next one, Show a Delicious Album Color, an album in delicious color. I'm sticking with Kings. Let's just keep going with the Kings. This is a reissue, Vivid's down. This is Freddie King, the third King after Albert Beebe and Freddie. He seems to get the less love around here. But this is kind of cool rock and blues stuff. And there you go. This is a reissue of King Records. Well, King, I mean, okay, delicious. I love orange. I love orange. Goes with everything. So 70s, right? A friend had the blues, and you caught it too, a recommendation. Well, not just a recommendation, but I'm bringing Chris Blues Guy vinyl right in here because I won this from Chris, and Chris sent this to me as a winning for one of his contests on his channel early on. This is Buddy Guy, one of Chris's favorite artists, and I mentioned Buddy Guy in the Psychedelic video. I think this is his latest album, The Blues is Alive and Well, from 2018. 2 LPs, really amazing record, really good record, soulful, bluesy, and some of the best photography. Look at these photographs. As you know, maybe you don't know, I'm a photo agent. I love good photography. This is the real deal. I mean, this is beautiful portraiture. So thanks, Chris, for this. Thanks for turning me on to this record. I've seen you show it prior to you sending it to me, but The Blues is Alive and Well, Buddy Guy from 2018. RCA Records. Silvertone. Okay, Eureka, a glorious blues find or discovery. In 1970-71, do you know the whole history of bootleg records? Bob Dylan, Great White Wonder, and then the Beatles Get Back. I think in 71, I found this copy. And now it's Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan's influenced by folk, blues. So just bear with me here. Great White Wonder, GWW, John Birch Society Blues. The song that Dylan couldn't sing on the Ed Sullivan Show, as I recall. Obviously, trademark equality. Bootleg series, the original Great White Wonders came on white. They didn't have these colored versions here. But there's a series like almost branded as GWW, Great White Wonder. And it says blues, so it is blues. And I could have used this for the color record. You know, this is what these bootlegs look like. Different colors, sometimes black. Nothing else, no liner notes, no details. Have a handful of Dylan bootlegs and Beatle bootlegs. So trademark equality, cool record. Eureka, I found it, Ma. And finally, the first blues album that you remember getting, I think. Well, I did say that the Livewire Blues Power, I did mention that album, but I think this is the first blues album I got, and this is Canned Heat, and this is Livin' the Blues. This is a double album, fantastic record on United Artists Records, right? Yep, Liberty Records, excuse me. What I remember loving about this when I got it, this is, right deep in the thick of 1968, all like when 67, 68, when Iron Butterfly did In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida and Vanilla Fudge did those long albums, and, pre-prog, but those are prog-alike, and then all these long jams like Cream doing Crossroads on Wheels of Fire. Well, this is a double album by the great blues band Canned Heat, and side 3 and 4 is one song. It's a long version. It's a 41-minute version of Refried Boogie, part 1 and part 2. And that's, everyone gets their solo, and Bob the Bear does his introductions and introducing the band. And it's just, great. Going up the country is on here. Sandy's Blues, boogie music. I mean, there's a whole bluesy feel to this. Let's see, does it say anything else here? But I love this record. This is a really good rock, blues, white blues, funky record by the great Canned Heat, which the next year would be included in the Woodstock concert and then subsequent movie in 1970. So that's it. That's my blues vinyl tag. I think that's enough. Mazzy loves you, and I love the blues, baby.